Hello students, let's start the video today, and this is lesson 2 for the chapter Photosynthesis in Higher Plants. So in the last video, I started with the chapter Photosynthesis in Higher Plants, where I discussed about the definition, the chemical reaction, and the different requirements that takes place during the process of photosynthesis. And it seems to be a very simple process where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide with 12 molecules of water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll that yields or produces a chemical which is called as glucose, where the formula is C6H12O6 along with 6 molecules of oxygen and 6 molecules of water with it. But it is not a very simple process, and there undergoes different reactions that takes place during this photosynthesis reaction there in the chloroplast of the plant body. So this whole processes, it will take place in the chloroplast of the plant body. So therefore, in today's video, I'm going to discuss about the mechanisms of photosynthesis. So, the process of photosynthesis completes in 2 steps. One is light reaction and the other one is dark reaction. That means it involves 2 processes or 2 steps in order to yield the glucose molecule from the carbon dioxide and the water molecule. And the first step, that is called as light reaction, which is also called as the photochemical phase, that occurs in the thylakoid of the chloroplast, whereas the dark reaction, which is also called as the thermochemical phase, that occurs inside the stroma of the chloroplast. So please go through the structure of chloroplast properly in order to point out the exact sites where this photosynthesis takes place. So the light reaction, it takes place in the thylakoid, whereas the dark reaction, that takes place in the stroma, and both the structures, or these are 2 parts inside the chloroplast only. But before discussing about the steps of light reaction, which requires light in order to initiate the process of photosynthesis, we need to know about some of the other facts of the chloroplast, that is there in the structure of the thylakoid. As you know, that thylakoid, that is a lamellar structure, and that is present in the form of stalks, which makes the grana molecule. These thylakoids, they are stocked with some photosynthetic pigments, which are the chlorophyll pigments along with beta carotenoids. And these beta carotenoids, it consists of the carotene and the xanthophyll pigment. So normally these 3 pigments, they are involved in the whole process of photosynthesis. And as discussed in the last class, this thylakoid, they possesses the photosynthetic pigments in it. And these pigments, they forms some photocenters. So therefore, let's discuss about those photocenters which are present inside the thylakoid, and then after that I will start with the process which is called as the light reaction, because in order to know light reaction, the knowledge about the thylakoid, that is very important. Here, this is the structure of the chloroplast and there you can see the structure of the thylakoid. Now these thylakoids, as they are arranged in a stacks, and it is made up of a lamellar structure, and together this whole structure, this is called as the grana particle. They're in the chloroplast. Now within these structures there are present some photocenters. These photocenters, they are made up of some protein molecules, and along with that there occurs the photosynthetic pigments, which are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, xanthophylls, etc. And the whole light reaction, it occurs in this particular structure, which is called as the thylakoid. They're in the chloroplast. As you know that in case of photosynthesis, there always requires the light energy in a particular wavelength, and this wavelength, it ranges from 390 nanometer to 760 nanometer, which we normally call it to be photosynthetically active radiation. So when light falls here in the thylakoid, or when light starts there in the thylakoid, there occurs some processes, and those processes where the electrons, they move from one point to the other, this is only called as the electron transport chain. And this electron transport chain, that takes place within the thylakoid. Now this light reaction of photosynthesis, as it involves this transport of electrons from one protein molecule to the other, so this whole takes place within a system which is called as the photosystem, or this is also called as pigment system. And this pigment systems, or the photosystems, they are divided into two, that is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Each photosystem has protein pigments complex. That means, as I have said, that the thylakoid, they are equipped with this chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, along with this protein molecules. So this together, this is called as the pigment protein complex. And there in the plant kingdom, there occurs two photosystems. One is PS1, which is photosystem 1, and another one is PS2, which is photosystem 2. So each photosystem, it has this pigment protein complex composed of chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, and other components. And each pigment protein complex consists of a core complex. So that is the main part, having a reaction center of about 40 to 60 chlorophyll molecules and an antenna complex. And this antenna complex, that is again made up of these protein molecules. So various pigment molecules in the antenna complex absorb this different wavelengths of light and transfer their absorbed energy to the core complex, which is finally concentrated there in the reaction center, which is called as the chlorophyll. And the latter takes part in the photochemical reactions. That means we are not going to discuss about the first part, where this different light wavelength they comes and how it enters this reaction center. We are going to concentrate there in the chlorophyll molecule here. And the part where this chlorophyll molecule is present there in the thylakoid, that region, that is only called as the photocenter. Now this absorption of the light spectra, that is different for different types of plants, and as we are going to discuss about the higher plants, so therefore the higher plants, they possess both this photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So let's discuss that what happens in photosystem 1. So now, till now, as you have known, that this whole process it is going to take place with the help of this chlorophyll molecule. So they're in the photosystem 1 complex, so which is a like a structure where these chlorophyll molecules are present, where the number of chlorophyll A that will be more. So this photosystem 1 complex contains a single molecule of chlorophyll A, and that can that can absorb the wavelength of light, which is up to 700 nanometer. So therefore this PS1, that is photosystem 1 complex, that is also called as P700. Why? Because this chlorophyll A, which is present there in the PS1, it can absorb the light spectra to 700 nanometer. And this chlorophyll A, this is a special chlorophyll molecule that absorbs visible light near this 700 nanometer wavelength. So this single molecule is the reaction center of the photosystem 1, and to which all the necessary pigment molecules in this photosystem transfers their energy. So this whole process, this is going to take place there in this particular molecule, which is the chlorophyll A700. And that only is the photocenter or the reaction center of the PS1. Besides this P700, that is the special chlorophyll molecule, the PS1 it consists of other chlorophyll molecules as well, such as 200 to 400 chlorophylls of other chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B molecule, along with carotenoids and xanthophylls, and iron containing proteins such as the ferrous sulfur protein, ferrodoxin. So these are also present in this particular photosystem. So you can relate it with a room where a special person is there, but along with that special person, some other helps they are also present there. So you can imagine it in that way. Now, these ferrous sulfur proteins are the primary electron acceptors of the PS1. So they accept the electrons that comes from the other part of the thylakoid. That means that comes from the antenna molecules of the thylakoid. The PS1 system has more chlorophyll A molecules as compared to the chlorophyll B molecules and the carotenoids, and it is light green in color. The chlorophyll molecule that is light green in color because of the presence of the magnesium atom in that, and located both on the non-aqueous part of the granular thylakoid as well as on the fridge channels, mostly towards the outer surface of the membrane. So generally this PS1, this is present in this non-aqueous part of the thylakoid, and it is also present in the fridge channels. Fridge channels, that means the thylakoid that connects one granular particle with the other, and that is generally suspended there in the stroma, which is the chloroplast matrix there in the chloroplast. So it is present in that particular part, which is the non-aqueous part of the thylakoid, and PS1 is associated with both cyclic and non-cyclic electron transport. So that we are going to discuss it in the mechanism of the light reaction. So it is generally connected with both the cyclic and the non-cyclic electron transport chain, and there they drives the electron from PS2 to produce this NADP molecule. And this is all about the electron transport system. So these photosystems, both the photosystems, there the transport of the electrons generally take place. Now let's come to the photosystem 2. Now photosystem 2, so there is also a single molecule of chlorophyll A. That is also a chlorophyll A, which is a special molecule that can accept or absorb visible light near 680 nanometer of wavelength. And this molecule that is present in the PS2. So this is another room again. So this is PS2 where the single molecule is present, and this is only called as the reaction center or the photocenter that is present there in the thylakoid, to which all the accessory pigment molecules of the photosystem transfer their energy, which is same as that of the PS1. Then PS2 also contains 200 molecules, where it is equipped with chlorophyll A and other chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B along with carotenoids. And except the reaction center, that is P680, which is a chlorophyll A, special chlorophyll A, which can receive the light of 680, all the other pigments are called as the accessory pigments. And here also it is equipped with the primary electron acceptor, and here also we will find the same protein molecules, where the electron, it will be moved from one protein center to the other. That means apart from the main photocenter, one which accepts the 700 nanometer of light and the other that accepts the 680 nanometer of light, along with the number of chlorophyll molecules, otherwise rest of the characteristics in both the photosystem, that is same in the thylakoid. And one more thing to be said, that is that this photosystem 2, that is involved only with this that is with the non-cyclic electron transport chain. So this PS2, it doesn't take part in case of cyclic electron transport chain, so that it is involved only in case of non-cyclic transport chain. So generally PS1, that is involved in both the cyclic and the non-cyclic transport chain, so that you will understand well. I will discuss the light reaction mechanism, but this photosystem 2, that will only be involved with this non-cyclic electron transport chain. So these are some complexes which is made up of these chlorophyll molecules there inside the thylakoid. And generally this PS2, that is found there in the outer surface of the aqueous part of the grana thylakoid. So this is also a very important point to be noted, that PS1, that is found in the non-aqueous part towards the outer surface of the thylakoid, and PS2, that is found in the inner surface of the aqueous part of the grana thylakoid. Aqueous part, that means that is the region where many thylakoids, they comes as a stake and which are towards the inner side. So that is the aqueous part, and the part which is generally exposed towards the outer side, so that is the non-aqueous part. So non-aqueous part, they possesses only the PS1, that can receive the 700 nanometer of light, and PS2, that is the inner side of the thylakoid, where they can receive the 680 nanometer of light. So I hope that these 2 points, that is clear to all of you. Now let's discuss about the mechanism of light reaction. So now let's come to the mechanism of light reaction that is going to take place there in the PS1 and PS2 in the thylakoid membrane. So light reaction, it involves 2 steps. And the first step, that is called as the release of electron. The reaction begins with the absorption of light particles, which is called as photon, on the PS1 and PS2. That is the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 located in the thylakoid membrane. The reaction center receives the absorbed energy from the chlorophyll molecules. That means here chlorophyll A 700 and chlorophyll A 680, they will act as a photocenter or the reaction center, which can absorb the light particles as the sun comes out in the morning. The reaction centers get excited and they escape high energy electron, which move to other acceptor molecules. Here the acceptor molecules, those will be the protein molecules which are present there in the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. And the light energy captured by this chlorophyll is thus converted into a chemical energy. So as this light energy decomes and starts this photosynthesis, which is chlorophyll A700 and chlorophyll A680, this light energy, it initiates a chemical process where the electrons, they jump from one molecule to the other molecule, or from one electron acceptor to other electron acceptor, which are in the form of protein molecules or protein factors. And in that way, the light energy captured by this chlorophyll A molecule is thus converted into a chemical energy. And with this, the second step that follows, that is the flow of electron. As you know now, the chlorophyll A700 and chlorophyll B680, they will receive the light molecule, and here that the reaction center, it will get excited. Why? Because the light particles, they will come and they will get dashed to these reaction centers, and in that way, in order to accept this high energy electron, they will try to escape that high energy electron by donating that electron to some other molecules, and in that way a electron transport chain that starts there in the thylakoid, and that initiates the second step, which is the flow of electron. That means that is the electron transport chain, and this electron released from the reaction center moves towards two different pathways. One is the cyclic electron transport or cyclic photophosphorylation. This is also called as photophosphorylation, because in this particular process of electron transport, where the throwing of electron from one molecule to the other will take place, there they will yield an energy rich molecule, or they will make an energy rich molecule, which is called as the ATP. As you know that ATP, this is the energy currency for all living cells. So in this process, in this electron transport chain, as ATP is going to get produced, so therefore this electron flow, that is also called as photophosphorylation. Photo, that means in the presence of light, when phosphate molecule will be added to the ADP molecule, so that is only called as photophosphorylation. So there are two names. So one is cyclic electron transport chain, and the other that is cyclic photophosphorylation, and the other one that will be called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So let's come to the diagram now. So what will happen in the cyclic photophosphorylation? So cyclic photophosphorylation or cyclic electron transport begins with the PS1. So the cyclic photophosphorylation process that will take place in the chlorophyll A700, which is the light harvesting complex, which absorbs the solar energy with P700 reaction center. The primary electron acceptor is an unknown compound X or Z, which then transfers the electrons to ferredoxin. See, from this chlorophyll A, which is written as P700, there this particular electron acceptor that throws the electron to another unknown compound, and that is termed as X or Z. So now the same process takes place. From this P700, this X molecule that gets excited, and in order to release that high energy, again it will release the electron from this particular molecule, which is the X molecule, and it will be received by a protein factor which is called as ferredoxin, that is written as FD. Now the same process it will turn on in every protein factors that is present in that particular photo system. So from ferredoxin it will be received by cytochrome B6. From cytochrome B6, again the same process will take place, where it will get excited, and in order to come into the ground state, that will again release the electron, and it will be received by plastoquinone, that is PQ. From plastoquinone it will be received by cytochrome F, and from cytochrome F it will be received by plastocyanin, and from plastocyanin again it will come to the chlorophyll A molecule, and in that way we get a cyclic process. And in this whole process, two ATP molecules are formed. One during when ferredoxin transfers the electron to cytochrome B, there one ATP molecule is produced, and other one when plastoquinone transfers the molecule to cytochrome F. So there also that ATP molecule is formed. And in this whole process, another very important step takes place, that is photolysis of water. The water molecule which is required during the photosynthetic reaction, as you can see that we write carbon dioxide plus H2O. So there water molecule that is broken, carbon dioxide it has not entered yet. So first this water molecule that gets broken down in the presence of light, and this breaking down of the water molecule in the presence of light, that is only called as photolysis of water. And when this water molecule gets broken down, then it gives rise to one molecule of oxygen. So in that way we find the oxygen as the product of this photosynthetic reaction. And this is a cyclic process. So in this case this is a cyclic process where this P700 it accepts the electron, and in that way the electrons that gets circulated within this photosystem 1. And this type of electron transport it is seen in case of the lower category plants. In case of the lower category plants, such type of electron transport it takes place. But in case of the higher plants, so there the non-cyclic electron transport takes place. So generally in this non-cyclic pathway it involves the electron transfer of by the chlorophyll is absorbed in the non-cyclic process, which is similar to that of the cyclic one, but here so one more photosystem will be added. So here the light rays that will, or light energy, it will be accepted by PS1 of PS2 at first. PS2, that means the photosynthesis center with 680 nanometer of light, that will accept the 680 nanometer of light which is present there in the aqueous part of the thylakoid. So it is absorbed there in the PS2 reaction center, and the same way they will get excited. So with the P680 wavelength of light, where the reaction center comes to an excited state and it releases an electron which is immediately accepted by a primary electron acceptor which is called as the quinone. So that is represented as Q. And in that way again this Q, that is quinone, it again releases the electron to plastoquinone. From plastoquinone it will go to cytochrome F. From cytochrome F the electron it will go to plastocyanin, and from plastocyanin it will be received by photosystem 1 then. And again in photosystem 1 it will get excited, and this photosystem 1 will release the electron to this X or unknown molecule, and from this X or unknown molecule it will the electron that will be released to the ferredoxin molecule, and in this whole process one molecule of NADPH plus that is evoked, and 1 NADPH plus that is equivalent to 3 ATP molecules. That means in this particular process also an energy rich compound is made. So here in this whole process very high energy electron transport takes place from one electron acceptor to other electron acceptor, and this non-cyclic photophosphorylation process it takes place in case of all the higher plants, and in that way we get the light reaction to be completed there in the thylakoid of the chloroplast. And in this process also the photolysis of water takes place, where two water molecules it gives rise to one oxygen molecule. So this is in brief the process that takes place during the light reaction of photosynthetic reaction that takes place in the thylakoid with the PS1 and the PS2. This PS1 and the PS2 system, they are involved in the formation of this oxygen molecule, and this PS1 and a PS2 molecule, they are equipped with this chlorophyll molecules, and therefore chlorophyll, as they are the electron acceptor, that becomes a very important part of the photosynthetic process. So this is all for today's class. Thank you.